Are you tired of business feeling hard? Do you know you are talented and that you have something to offer and that it is so possible for you to make money, but it just feels like too steep a climb? Today on the Possibility Mom podcast, I want to share with you how the pursuit of running a business and making money can feel so much more effortless when you know you're working genius. And I want to share with you some firsthand examples from my own life, from understanding my geniuses and what I'm observing of the women in my mastermind, and how this can help you as well. That's what's coming up today on the Possibility Mom Live. I miss you. It has been a tremendously long period of illness for me. I just sent an email to my list sharing just how ill I was. I'm still on, I have, I think, one more dose of antibiotics to go through. It has been the slowest possible healing process for whatever reason this time around, but I am just grateful for restored health. I am grateful that I was able to take a few days to really just take it easy. I watched a lot of TV. I don't know, enough TV to enough TV for my lifetime. But I am very, very grateful for restored health. I still have a little bit of there's still, I think, a little bit of laryngitis left over here, but I am feeling so much better and feeling refreshed and feeling very happy to talk to you and to talk to you about business. I've been reflecting so much about the things that are important to me in my life, in my family's life. There have been many things going on behind the scene. I mean, I share a lot with you here on the podcast and on Instagram especially. But of course, there are things that I keep private. There have been a lot of things going on that have caused me to particularly reflect and discern what is important to me, what brings me joy. What do I want to do more of? What do I want to do less of? And helping women make money, helping families feel like they can get themselves out of situations and into new ones, helping women, Catholic women particularly, follow a dream in their heart, let go and heal from limiting beliefs, and really heal from the wounds and the reasons why they feel like they can't do things. Just continues to be, the drumbeat. I recognize that those several sentences, those are a lot. I've been working on myself, and even in the mastermind especially, we work with our clients to help them understand their unique call to sanctity, their unique genius, and be able to give that very succinct wording. I've been in this season of trying to do that for myself, because I would say that my brand and my business have evolved very much in the last 3 to 5 years, especially since leaning into being a Catholic coach and really getting a more robust sense of training into what it looks like to run a business as a Catholic, our Catholic anthropology, what it means to, I know this sounds weird, but be a human person, like just really understanding all of the elements that go into the way we make decisions, the way we show up in the world, all of our past experiences that impact our ability to be confident, to speak with confidence, to be truly ourselves. It's been an incredible season of getting to know myself and really leaning into coaches and leaning into some of the resources that I have available to me, like internal family systems therapy, like somatic coaching. I have done a tremendous amount in the last year, and I'm doing some new things moving forward. I want to share with you, I have just begun a journey of doing my own high performance coaching. So my wonderful partner in the mastermind, Stephanie Donahue, is a certified coach through Brendan Burchard's platform, High Performance Coaching, and she has begun a journey with me on that style of coaching, and it has been hugely revelatory. And it's only been we just started this week. It's been interesting, the breakthroughs that have already happened as a result of just asking very poignant questions, very clarifying questions, and having to reflect on them and to pause. And so I'll be sharing more about my own personal journey with high performance coaching with Stephanie Donahue as the weeks go on. But it has been hugely transformative already in just a few short days. Like, just to give you one quick example, I made a commitment as a result of Stephanie's questions to be more present to my husband. And so what that looks like for me is when I'm with him, I'm with him. And a couple things that we've really put into place, for example, is just eye contact. So I don't hold my phone. I don't have it like with me. If we are in the same space and we're working or we're working on something together, that's different. But in times when we are just simply like in leisure, and those times happen to be the morning when we're having our morning cup of coffee, and then the evening after the kids go to bed. I have made just in a few days a concerted effort to look him in the eye as much as possible and not have my phone near me. And that has been hugely transformative. And then I've also just in a few very short days, I would say, become, there's been an increase in confidence in what we offer, what I offer, what I'm able to bring to the table. And that has been transformative in many different ways, because I'm starting to take some action on things that I wasn't feeling confident in. And again, just it's the power of self-knowledge and having a coach outside of you who can speak into you, observe things, help you to process things is just so valuable. One of the things that came up in coaching that it's just really fun. I shared with my coach, I don't want to be in the exact same spot I'm in 6 months from now. And my fear is if I don't work on some of these things, my fear is if I just continue to be reactionary to certain elements of my life, to think about developing plans in certain areas of my life, that of course they will not be moved forward. And so I'm very, very excited. I've created 3 personal goals and 3 business goals, and perhaps I will do a whole podcast episode related to what I'm doing to move those 6 goals forward in the next 90 days. Okay. Today, I want to talk about the pursuit of making money and the pursuit of running a business and how it can be more effortless, particularly using a tool called the Working Genius. Last time on the podcast, I had the beautiful Kristina Schmitt. She is a Mastermind member. She came on to talk about leadership and Catholics in business. She is also a Working Genius certified coach. I've got other people in my community, Karen McFarland being one of them, who are also certified. I know there are several others in my Wealth Without Guilt community and in my community at large who are really into Patrick Lencioni's table group Working Genius model. So I'm going to briefly explain what the Working Genius is, the 3 different phases that a team, an individual, ideas must go through in order to become reality. And then I'm going to give some examples of what I'm seeing in my personal life, in my marriage, in my relationship with Stephanie, and in our mastermind that have really been powerful as a result of understanding where you are a genius and where you have frustrations. But before we do that, it is the Feast of the Sacred Heart of Jesus today. And I want to open, before we get into business, this was shared with me recently, and I want to share it with you because, oh my goodness, this touched my heart. So this was a first Mass. This has nothing to do with business. This is just completely to do with trusting the Lord and just the Holy Spirit and the beauty and the truth of our Catholic faith. So this video is a video of a first Mass at a parish in Fort Wayne. I believe that's in Indiana. This is a first Mass where this particular priest had all of his sacraments, so his, if I'm not mistaken, baptism, first communion, etc., were all in this parish. And this is his very first Mass in this parish. The Mass went on, as Masses go, without, no, there were no problems, there were no challenges. And then we get to this point of the consecration, and I have to show you what happened. If you are listening to this, where you love to listen to podcasts, the YouTube link is in the show notes. And if you're watching this on YouTube with me, let's just watch what happens together. And I'll be back to respond to it.
On the day before he was to suffer, he took bread in his holy and venerable hands. And with eyes raised to heaven, eyes raised to heaven, to you, O God, as Almighty Father, giving you thanks, he said the blessing, broke the bread, and gave it to his disciples, saying,
Okay, my friends, come on. Just how beautiful is that? If you're listening to this in podcast form, that was a scene from the priest's first Mass. He gets so overcome with emotion when he is saying the words of consecration. He is so overcome with emotion. At first he just wipes his eyes with his hands, and then he pauses again. He's so overcome with emotion. He has to take out a handkerchief. I just, I wish there was a camera on his mother at that moment. How would his parents have reacted to that moment? And just, I attended a Mass last weekend, where the priest was up here in Peterborough. I believe his name is Father Ante. No, that's not his name. Is that his name? Anyway, I'm so sorry. But he said if every person knew that it was truly Jesus Christ in the Holy Eucharist, that every single church of every single Mass would be filled to the brim. And that just stayed with me so much. That is so true. If we all knew the presence of Jesus Christ was truly, if we all really felt that, if we all, it brought us to tears. And I love this video. I've watched it several times. We've watched it with our children, and just, may we all weep when we go to Mass. May we all weep at the power and the magnanimity and the truth and the beauty and the goodness that exists in our church, in a relationship with Jesus, and knowing and loving him. May we all weep. May we all just weep. May we watch things like this. Maybe when we have hardened hearts, and you might be watching this, and you might have a heart that sometimes feels hardened. Maybe you're going through some things. Maybe you're feeling the absence of God. Maybe you're like, God doesn't really feel present to me right now. Let's watch things like that video when you are feeling his absence. Let's be reminded of the truth that we have a Lord that loves us, that died for us, that wants to be in relationship with us, that he is good, that he is a good, good Father. And so I invite you, keep this clip handy when you need a little, I don't know, if you need a little cry, if you need a little reminder that, you know, that this is all real and true. This is not just like flippant. We don't just go through motions, although sometimes I'm sure it can feel like that. But like, may we have this powerful experience regularly, that a miracle happens in front of our face that could move us to tears. I don't know why this priest was crying. Like, maybe he was crying for other reasons. Maybe he was crying. There's probably a combination of reasons that he was crying. I would imagine feeling like just completely fulfilled, feeling like a moment had come that he'd been waiting for. Who knows, right? But gosh, whatever the reason, may it remind us, may videos like this remind us that this is important, that our faith is important, that our ability to go to Mass, the access to the sacraments, all of it is important enough to weep over, important enough to be filled with emotion. Okay, back to making money. No, there was no segue. There's no segue there from that experience. Okay, so let's talk about the genius and the beauty that is you, and why understanding how you are created and how you work is going to help you make money and build a business in a much more effortless way. So I'm going to share my screen with you again. If you are listening to this in podcast form, I might suggest that you just do a quick Google of the 6 types of working genius. And so this is developed by Patrick Lencioni and his table group. There are many different ways that you can learn about this. There's a book. You can hire a coach, of course. I would encourage you to take the assessment. And I've put the link to Working Genius in the show notes for this episode. But essentially, what this Working Genius model illustrates is how work happens. And please, I am not a Working Genius expert. This is all my learning by doing this for myself. And so I apologize if I get some of this a little bit inaccurate, but I'm pretty sure I've got a decent handle on it. So essentially, as you can see here, work goes through a widget, WIDGET, and that stands for the different kinds of working genius. So we begin at the beginning where you might have an idea. So let's just use an example like I'm going to start a business. I'm going to use a farm because I was just speaking right before this to a beautiful woman who runs a farm right now. So you might be like, how am I going to make money at this farm? And that's the very beginning. And in the very beginning, we need to wonder. We need to ask the important questions like, is it important for me to make money with a farm? What are the ways that one can make money with a farm? Is this what God is calling me into right now? How am I different and unique compared to other farmers? So wonder asks the big questions of why. Okay, so now that we have some kind of sense of the direction we want to go after asking these really big questions, the wondering why, exploring all the possibilities, looking very big, we now go to invention. So this might be like, well, we can sell duck eggs. Well, we can sell ducks. Well, we can sell the live animals that can then be processed. We can sell packages. We can sell coffee. We can sell baked goods with our coffee. We can sell omelets on demand, whatever, right? So invention, all the different ways one could make money on a farm. We could have subscription. We can have delivery. We can have boxes. We can have, permaculture farming where you come to the farm and you have your own plot of land. There's so many different things, okay? Invention. Many different ideas. Then we need to pass this all through discernment. And that is, what idea is the best one? So subscription, maybe this is the best one because we have a lot of people in our area that have large families, and something like this would be very helpful. Or maybe we need to pursue a delivery service because we have a lot of elderly in our community, or we have a lot of churches in our community that run community meals, and it would be very helpful that they had this all the time. So you discern. Then you go through the process of galvanizing. Galvanizing is, oh my gosh, we have picked that we are going to do subscription. Okay, team, here we go. I am so excited. Public, I am so excited. Church groups, I am so excited. We are going to do this incredible delivery service. It's available. Did you know you can have it? So it's pure excitement. We're going to go. Enablement then is the steps that make it happen. Okay, so we decided to do subscription. All right, what's the first thing we need to do? Let's make a website. What's the second thing we need to do? Let's make sure the pricing is accurate. What's the third thing we need to do? And so on and so forth. We're enabling this to happen. And then tenacity gets things across the finish line. Tenacity is like, what and when is this due? By what time are we going to have this ready? Exactly how much is this going to be? The tenacity person gets this across the finish line, understanding that there's an approach to work, and what your geniuses are and where you typically get frustrated is what I believe, and what Patrick Lencioni and many of these other working genius coaches believe can make the pursuit of making money, of business, of any organization so much more effortless, fulfilling, less guilt, more energy. And so now I want to share with you what I've learned about myself, as well as my husband, and as well as the incredible Stephanie Donahue, who I run the mastermind with, and what I'm observing in my mastermind members, and give you some examples to help you think about how this could work for you and make you make more money by the fact that you are remaining in your geniuses and not in your frustrations as much. I think a big key here that is very important to remember and recall, and again, I am not a working genius expert, but this is coming out of my lived experience and understanding my own genius, is that it's a tool that can help you remain where you thrive and help you to either create support by having people around you, or understanding that you're going to need personally more support when you are operating in a way that doesn't thrive. Okay, so I want to share with you my working geniuses, and maybe you can guess them from hearing the descriptions of the working genius. But my primary working geniuses are galvanizing and enablement. So I love to get people excited, get people going. And the description for the GE is the enthusiastic encourager, a warm and positive affirmer of others, quick to support and inspire people who need energy or reassurance. That is like 100% me. My frustration happened to be the incredible Stephanie Donahue's main geniuses. She is an ET, so enablement and tenacity. Here's the description of that one: the loyal finisher, a responsive, dependable doer, willing to step up when something is needed and determined to fulfill their commitments. The fascinating thing about us is that her frustrations are my geniuses. She has no galvanizing. It frustrates her to galvanize. And it is fascinating when I just look at the two of us together and the mastermind that we've created. One other thing that we have observed is that no one in the mastermind has the genius of galvanizing. And so that there's something about my ability to galvanize that has attracted quite a few people. And when we have been doing, some of our one-on-ones and our calls, and when people were signing up for the mastermind, tenacity. So Stephanie's working genius was expressed. That was their draw to Stephanie. Like, we know you're going to get this across the finish line. So just a couple of examples, and then I'm going to share a story that I have with Josh, but examples of how this has been really helpful for me in understanding how making money can be fun and easy. You might remember this phrase that my lovely, lovely friend, Erin Ingold, it was a thought she gave me a very long time ago that has stuck with me because of my strengths, because of my motivations, because of my working genius. This phrase, making money is fun and easy, is very attractive to me. And so, for example, my ability to galvanize I know that if I can just get in front of people and get them excited, I'm always going to have fun. And so that is why you see me put on workshops. That is why you see me do things live. That is why I know that even if I'm in a horrible mood, even if I'm feeling ill, even if the day has been very challenging, and it's in my competency, like meaning I've got enough information in my brain and my experience that I know that even if I haven't had as much time to prepare for a presentation, that I honestly really can slide into the chair and do something fun and do something that can help people, because it is a natural genius for me to galvanize. And I remember when I learned this, I did this working genius actually probably at least a year or two ago. I remember when I learned this and combined with my motivation code of loving to be visible and understanding this all together, this is when you can start to design products, design experiences, design things tailored to your geniuses, to your motivations, to, the way you've been innately and uniquely hardwired. And that is a huge component to making the pursuit of making money effortless. It's going to require effort. So perhaps that word can be a little misleading, but it can feel effortless. When I am doing podcasts like this, they largely feel effortless because I am working in this genius. Let's talk about the flip side. When you understand your frustration, and so I have the frustration of tenacity, meaning things with a lot of details can be challenging for me to do. Things that require a lot of like monotonous tasks, let's call it, or just things I don't enjoy, like I just straight up don't enjoy doing them, they're going to be challenging for me. And so prior to working with Stephanie, I had learned some things like sandwiching activities. So, you do something that's like pure galvanizing, and then you do some tenacity style work, and then you're coming back to something galvanizing at the end. Like you can sandwich activities. That's a term Kristina Schmitt gave me, like sandwich the activities. But then you can also really lean into people like I leaned on Stephanie, who have that strength, where you recognize that strength and you're just like, you are really good at this. Let's team up, right? And so in a team setting, of course, that becomes hugely beneficial to identify. But what I see some of the women in my mastermind do is rely on each other and form relationships where, if you're low in tenacity, but you might not be in the place where you can afford a team, you have somebody just like, hey, can we co-work together? Can we sit here together? And I'm going to do something that I know is not naturally like strong for me. I'm really not good at it, but knowing that you're here and providing me some encouragement and some accountability, maybe cheering me on, somebody else with galvanizing, cheering me on, I know it's going to help me. This is how I do work. Oh my gosh, this Monday, I'll give you another very practical example. This past Monday, I had wanted to do something that was on my list for 2 weeks, and I just hadn't gotten around to it. It wasn't even that hard, but it was another one of those, like, it's on a list of many things to do. My frustration with tenacity was kind of turning on at that point, and I just was like, I need to get this done. And co-working, being able to check in at the beginning, and then 30 minutes later be able to just be like, oh my gosh, yay, I did it, was hugely beneficial. So understanding your geniuses, understanding the way that you work, and then being able to design as many elements of your business around it. Even the way that you design your product. So I would love for you, and this is my enablement turning on, okay? My enablement is turning on right now. I'd love for you to pause. If you are a mom in business or you want to be in business, I want you to just pause and think about if you know your working genius or you have an inkling to what your working genius is. Just ask yourself the question, is this showing up in the product that I have created, product or the service that I have created? And is it showing up in the way that I run my business? So in other words, am I trying to stay in this role as much as possible? And do I have supports for the frustrations that I have or where I lack? Some examples of how your product or service can reflect your working genius, or where you can remain in your working genius, are as follows. So for example, somebody with wonderment or invention, they would make incredible coaches or consultants, asking the big questions, being able to get people to think bigger, to think wider. They'd be essential at the beginning of a project to help everybody, be on the same page, rally around the same cause, clarify any problems they see. They might not be the people that you want, although they can probably do this work, but they might not be as naturally gifted to get the project finished. And so like the lots of details, some of the more mechanical work, that might not be for them. But WI, those people, how this could show up in a business is like coaching and consulting, drafting the big picture. If I was an interior designer that had very strong, WI, I would be, presenting different options. Like this kind of, I'm just thinking back to my past career of interior design. It's like the consulting that happens in the beginning. Should you embark on a renovation or should you just move? That's a service. That's a consulting service, right? Okay. The galvanizing and the E, and the way that working genius, expresses or explains that there's 3 different phases of work, and they do have to follow these 3 different phases. So if you have galvanizing like I do, and discernment, if you have discernment and you have galvanizing like I do, how this could show up in a business is, again, like I said, you are the person getting excited. So sales, you are the person who is leading the way. Like think of people in my life who are so good at coordinating volunteers, who are so good at literally leading children's activities, leading camps, anything where you need to get people excited and moving in a similar direction on a very specific, task, right? I think of people with discernment, I think they would make incredible, helping people to make decisions. And so that's in so many elements of coaching. That's in so many elements of anything that has many decisions to be made. Counseling, just so fun to think about the different possibilities. And then the ETs, the spinal section, the enablement tenacity. We all need an ET in our life. For a coach, I have so many coaches that listen to this. Perhaps you are offering 30 days of, I'm going to see you to the finish line. Perhaps that's really important. Like there's a beginning and a natural end to whatever you're working on together, whether it's weight loss or nutrition or a project. But you're saying, like, I'm going to get you to the end. We are going to do something really specific together in 90 days. And that's how we're measuring our success. So maybe your service or your product isn't one-on-one coaching, or maybe there's just like one call there. But yours is more about like, I'm going to check in with you every single day and ensure that you are moving forward in your goals. When we learned mine and Stephanie's working geniuses, it was so helpful for us to kind of understand and then see, okay, even the division of labor between the two of us in our mastermind. She is exceptionally gifted at the enablement and tenacity. So how that looks for her in the mastermind is every single day, Monday through Friday. We are at the beginning of the day checking in and saying to the group, what are you moving forward today? And by the end of the day, we're checking in and we're saying, hey, what got stuck? Where do you need help? How did it go? When we started doing this in the mastermind, and this is a fairly new asset of the mastermind, when we started doing this, the movement and the achievement we saw. I'll just give you a taste. One of our members had been for weeks, sitting on a lead magnet and sitting, like not really doing anything with it. And within 5 days, the lead magnet got revamped, created, able to get into the world and be utilized. And it was exceptional to see, because we were like, wow, we just needed to do this, a couple months ago. Like, just that very direct and quote unquote in your face. That's the expression that just came to mind. But when something is not hidden, like when someone is asking you, hey, what are you going to work on with intention today? Certainly you can choose to ignore it. But when you've got all these people who are chiming in saying, this is what I'm moving forward, here's how it went, it can be hugely, hugely motivating. One of the things that we didn't kind of realize would happen, but it also helped people in their personal lives. A mastermind member mentioned that she was going to use the daily accountability to also help her with some health goals, like eating or drinking a green smoothie. And several of our members also were using it for exercise accountability. And it was hugely motivating to see people chime in and say, I'm working out this morning, and then, wow, I did it. That was incredibly encouraging for me to start to implement again some healthier habits. And of course, money making. Incredible to watch our mastermind members set goals, like saying, I'm going to fill this group to 6 people, and then say in a given day, okay, I'm going to reach out to this group. I'm going to follow up with this person. I'm going to make these 3 calls. And then to see people absolutely crush it because they did the things and they filled the group. We've had members fill their groups, exceed their goals for sales. And I believe that it is a direct result of Stephanie's gifting in enablement and tenacity. Every single day, we are helping people get things across the finish line. I love the expression for tenacity. A responsive, dependable doer, or this loyal finisher, the ET, willing to step up when something is needed and determined to fulfill their commitments. We have a commitment to help our mastermind members make money. And it just makes me so happy, like determined to fulfill their commitments. This is a beautiful gift of Stephanie Donahue that I see every single day, and that our mastermind members and myself personally are reaping the benefits of. I want to share with you how I'm seeing this also show up in my marriage. Okay, so when you remember the widget, okay, for years, my husband and I, we run Persevere Together, a charity that we've established to help Catholic couples who have mental illness present in their marriage. And we've done many other things together. We ran a membership site called You Evangelize together for many, many years. We've done all kinds of work. He's worked in my business. And oh my goodness, I have for years, historically, been forcing him to do the work that is more like ET style work, so more like Stephanie style work. I have been forcing him to be in that final leg of the widget when his natural giftings are at the beginning. So he is WD. He is wonder and discernment. And listen to the description of my incredible husband. A thoughtful, insightful, and nuanced advisor. Slow to declare certainty, but deep in wisdom, intuition, and rationale. Joshua Kinning, I apologize publicly for my lack of awareness around your actual strength, because gosh, for years, I had been being like begging him, can you please just be the person who finishes the tasks, because I'm not great at them. I always knew this about myself. I knew that tenacity was not great for me, but and I have other strengths that, compensate, but I for years was like, can't you just be the person who brings this home? And doing this assessment, I literally had to be like, mea culpa, my darling spouse, I am so sorry. And when we have started to lean in on this, and so what that looks like in our marriage, and we do work together, so I'll just talk about that aspect, is like, Josh is the person who when I'm like, what am I going to podcast about today? He is, and I'll be like, I think I should podcast about X. He'll be like, no, that's not really relevant for your audience, or that's not the exact, thing. And he will just bust out these questions, these big picture, scenarios, and incredible, using his discernment, incredible suggestions that are always way better than anything I come up with. I've also realized in our marriage that he needs space. All right, I knew this already. This was not a surprise, but like space to process. And I, in the past, because, of our lifestyle, certain things, I would just be like, can we make this decision now? Like, we need to do this now. Let's do this now and move on. I've had to learn with time, of course, and experience, that my husband needs a lot more space to process and not make decisions. And that's the thing. Like, listen to this description again. Slow to declare certainty, but deep in wisdom, intuition, and rationale. So he's become a big secret weapon, because you need somebody at the very beginning of a project to ask those big questions. Why are we doing this? Is this the right thing to be doing? Is this the right approach? You need that person asking the big questions. So, long and the short of it, understanding your genius. We can stay in our strengths. We can have more energy. We can craft our business product, like literally craft our products and our services around your specific geniuses. Surround yourself with the people, with the structures where your frustrations are. And this can show up like it does in my mastermind, where you have the, actual tenacity of Stephanie, and my encouragement daily. It can show up for you in your life by creating these structures for yourself and finding the people in your life who can support you and encourage you where you need it strategically. I hope this podcast was interesting and also helped you, perhaps like piqued your curiosity around you, your working genius, and how work might feel more effortless. If you would like to be in an experience where you have a natural galvanizer and someone who will break down complex situations, complex problems into very simple step-by-step processes, combined with a coach who will get you across the finish line with tenacity, I invite you to check out the Wealth Without Guilt Mastermind. I've put the link below in the show notes. We would love to have you join us. And you can learn more about the Working Genius, as well as you can find yourself your own Working Genius coach. And you can view the links for all of that again in the show notes. It is a pleasure to spend time with you and to talk about how, as a Catholic mom, you can make money, you can support your family, you can build the Catholic economy and support the causes that you care about. And if we can do this together, we would love to do that. Have an amazing, amazing Friday, and we will talk to you again next time.